Welcome back to Life and Hair. I have got Mischa on today. I have worn Mischa every day since I bought her. She is absolutely everything I look for in a style. Paula young, really keeps the prices down, and the comfort of the cap is pretty good. It really is pretty good. I really don't have anything to say, even though it's kind of a closed cap on the top with the permatease, etc. The permatease is done so well that those longer fibers just lie over the top of it and you can't really notice the permatease. I've got her up in the back. I'm actually making jam at the moment. I went out and I picked some blackberries, and I picked a big Tupperware full of blackberries. This blackberry jam, it's about 600 grams of blackberries. Look at that colour, delectable. And about 500 to 600 grams of preserving sugar that's got pectin in it. So here we are, the end of August 2022. My brain is still trying to catch up with time. I feel like time has gone very fast because of course the whole year of 2020 and early 21, what with all of the problems that we had, that chunk of time kind of disappeared. But now here we are, just very, very, very early autumn. Some might say late summer, but the mists have started to show themselves, and the quality of the sun is so different at the moment. It's kind of got that mellow, mature warmth about it. A lot of people are talking about food and product shortages in the shops coming up in the winter months. And in the UK, I don't know what it's like anywhere else. The cost of utilities is going up significantly, maybe 2 or 3-fold, I think, if not more. And it's become termed the cost of living crisis. It's made me look at life completely differently. And I wonder really whether I need to continue living my life the way I have been. And I'm specifically thinking about how I spend my money, the sort of things that I choose to buy. Quality is so much more important right now for me rather than quantity. Let's start with my phone. I've been looking at my phone far too much over these last couple of years. It's become really, I've become, I think, kind of addicted to the phone, and a lot of my day is spent looking at my screen. One of the things I really don't like about it is that I'll wake up in the morning and the first thing I'll do is reach for my phone. Once the phone is in my hand, I will then start looking at Instagram or Facebook. I will put a YouTube video on. I mean, that's all very well now and again, but you can't possibly live your life like that. The reason I don't like it very much, and let's face it, ladies, you know, for people our age, we remember what life used to be before we had the internet. In my early 20s to mid 20s even, the internet wasn't really a thing. I remember in 1997 I bought my first computer, and it's been accelerating very rapidly ever since then. Now, the problem with that is that I found that I've been living my life through my phone, and I've lost a certain pleasure and a certain quality of life because everything I've come to do has been through my phone. So I speak to friends through my phone. I hear other people's points of view through my phone. I buy most of my stuff through my phone. And that wave has been quite strong in my life, but now, you know, as the waves crash forth, they also pull back again, and everything is a cycle, everything is a rhythm. And I'm finding that in my heart I've got a very strong desire to simplify my life and to take technology out of my life in those areas that are unnecessary. In those areas really that take up the place of actual human interaction. I'm looking to enhance the quality of my human interactions and looking at it really on a day-to-day basis. So let's see, it says, bring to the boil and boil gently until the jam reaches a setting point. Okay, I'll do that. When I get up in the morning, I have choices to make. When I put on my hair and my makeup and my clothing, sometimes when I bump into my next door neighbour as I'm leaving the house, she will look at me and she'll say, oh, where are you going? You know, as though I was supposed to be going somewhere special because I'm all dressed up. Now, the reason I get all dressed up, apart from obviously embracing the joy of life in any way that I can, it's kind of like a political statement in some respects, because I refuse to quickly succumb and bend to the pressures that life has put upon people over these last few years. You know, the pressures of work. Work had become incredibly stressful. The pressures, of course, now of life becoming more expensive. People don't have time to do those very important foundational things that bring life true quality. They don't have time to cook nice meals from scratch. It's much easier to go and get, you know, something you can put in the microwave or something ready-made that you put straight into the oven. They don't have time to have dinner parties or to arrange an evening out with a friend at the pub. These are things that we used to do as a matter of course in my 20s and 30s. They've really disappeared. I told you that I have a Morris Minor. Now, my Morris Minor was actually made in 1963. She's incredibly reliable and incredibly economical. Very simple engine, not really much to go wrong. So long as you put water, fuel and oil for the engine and the cooling radiator is working, there's really no problems there. Oh, look at it. Delicious. Now, I told you, ladies, that this channel is about hair and it's about life. Because I've wanted to explore living life whilst wearing hair. And when we're living life, we're doing all sorts of things. So, including making jam and blackberry picking and heaven only knows what else. So the other day, believe it or not, I had been walking past my local butcher for years, which is next door to the local fishmonger in my local town. 4 years, walking past the greengrocer, 4 years, on my way to other shops, on my way to the supermarket. And I have always really hated shopping at the supermarket. I hate that big weekly shop kind of approach where it's a really huge undertaking and you know you have to get yourself motivated and the supermarket's dirty and it's overcrowded and you know the food is highly processed and all of this sort of thing. So 3 days ago I was walking down the high street and I thought, you know, I'm gonna go into that butcher and see what they've got. And they had every cut of meat imaginable. They had handmade sausages, all different types, and bacon. I've got this little basket. With this little basket, it's very easy to put fruit and vegetables into it and leave the plastic off. The sausages come wrapped in this wax paper, and then they put the wax paper in a plastic bag. Why? Just give me the sausages in the wax paper and I'll put them straight into my basket. It's just a very charming, romantic, high quality living to go out every day to find a spare 45 minutes in your day to go out and to buy food for that day and maybe even, for a couple of days. It's a lovely way to shop because you get to know the shop owners. Oh, that is delicious. Do you know something? Somebody said put a little bit of cinnamon in there. Quite autumnal, isn't it? And I also quite fancy putting in some cloves. Yeah, I've got a little bit of ground cloves and maybe a little bit of cinnamon. Just a hint, really. Just a hint. And my goodness, these cloves. Yeah, so you get to know the shopkeepers. And also I noticed that when you're walking down the road, looking put together, you've got your face on, you've got an optimistic disposition, an optimistic air about you, you're carrying your basket, you've gone into these little shops, you've stayed away from the supermarket as much as possible. People notice. People notice, and it's a message that you're relaying to people. That it kind of encourages others to remember what life was like, and to kind of demonstrate that a good quality life like that, where you have good quality interaction with others and, a basic daily routine with purpose that you do every day, looking nice and put together, it reminds them that that's still available for them should they decide to do the same. I can't deny that whenever I go around the supermarket, I see the most miserable people on the face of the planet in those supermarkets. Supermarkets, I feel, have got quite a toxic energy for me. I know it's nice to go round leisurely and look at all the stuff, but believe me, if you went to my local supermarket, there's nothing leisurely about it. It's really quite an unpleasant environment. So, shopping for food, that's one example of how I'm putting this slower pace of life, this more authentic way of life into practice, whilst wearing hair. Today I went out in Mischa, and she brings a lot to the party. I mean, she makes me look sort of vibrant and healthy and youthful, and I love to incorporate that into this creative approach to daily life, I guess, is one way that you can put it. Another thing that I'm very seriously considering doing is getting rid of my phone and maybe replacing it with a dumb phone, or they sell these special phones that basically it's not like you've got the internet in your palm. You don't have Instagram. You can't download apps, is what it is. The whole world is going the way of apps. When I park my car, it's the easiest thing ever to just do a parking app and pay for it, no problem. So I have to think carefully about how I want to do this, and to do my research as to how it's going to work in my life. I listen to an awful lot of podcasts. I love podcasts. I'm thinking maybe I might get an iPod where I can listen to music and podcasts, even audiobooks should I choose to, and keep my laptop. So in the evening I can watch a film, I can watch YouTube videos, I can look at the internet. It's not like I'm going off the internet completely, But what I don't want is I don't want to be regularly hijacked by the internet. My understanding is the apps are very, very cleverly designed. I mean, we spoke about TikTok. I mentioned, I had a TikTok account. They work hand in hand with the human psyche and psychology. It's very difficult to stop scrolling, and it's very addictive because you get some very easy, feel-good hormones going through your brain, basically. And who doesn't want that? Now, I want that, but I remember a time when I used to get that without actually going online. And the youth, of course, are sleepwalking into it, thinking that that is life. They have nothing to compare it to. They don't have a memory of an earlier time like we do. It's just nice to model that there is something else. There is another way of doing it, which worked really well. I mean, we never asked for all of this metaverse. We never asked for all of these apps. And somehow or other, it just became so convenient that, before I knew it, I was kind of hooked on my phone. And it doesn't make me happy. I plan to spend more time outdoors. I plan to really enjoy the coming season of autumn, one of my favourites. From about this time now until sort of the end of November, I'm in my element, totally in my element. If you are a foodie, and my goodness, I'm such a foodie. I mean, one of my favourite things is to cook. I'm going to use my diary to maybe, once every 2 months, invite some people over and just cook something nice. Now, at the butcher, I noticed that there is some pork belly there. And I know that a good roast pork belly is delicious. And it'll be lovely to share it with friends. And I know that whenever I'm invited over to someone's house, apart from deciding what it is I'm going to wear, it's one of the most enjoyable things that I can do with my evening, because it's intimate. I don't like big groups of people. I'm a foodie. I'm always interested in what's being prepared. After my operation, I can only eat slowly, so I'm not kind of shoveling it down, etc., mindlessly. It's also mindful, and you explore how people are really doing in their life through nice dinner conversation, maybe with a little bit of wine, not too much. It's a beautiful thing to do, and I haven't done it for years, and I really want to change that. In a couple of weeks' time, we're going to Cornwall for about 10 days or so. We're going to drive down there, we're going to look at the coast, we're going to sample the food, we're going to look at all the tourist sites to see. And so there's a lot of hair decisions to be made. Hair wearing has changed for me. I've also made the decision that when I'm ready, and it's going to be quite soon, I plan on cutting my hair very, very short. It's going to be a buzz cut. It's not going to be a number 1, but it's going to be maybe a number 2 or number 3. It's going to be a buzz cut. And I'm going to keep these here. I personally feel that every woman should have a buzz cut once in her life. I think it's very interesting to see yourself with absolutely no hair. I told Steve about it. I don't know what the purpose of me having hair anymore is, really. But I think spiritually it's a very interesting thing to do. It's very different. It's certainly going back down to basics, isn't it? So this time of the year and this time of my life, I am reassessing my daily living and simplifying as much as possible, taking the electronics out as much as possible, but keeping them obviously for certain times of the day and for certain reasons. But the mindless scrolling must stop. I have got a collection of short hair, and I have got one that you haven't seen yet, and it's the shortest one that I've ever had. And I would certainly like to take you upstairs as soon as this jam is done, and we can go through the short hair and see what we think about a little bit of short hair for the autumn.